Oh, hello, Mickey. How are you?
I'm so well, AJ. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Yeah.
Good.
Are you in Nashville right now?
I'm actually in California. I've been stuck here since the quarantine. My husband, he's a lawyer and he started
Okay.
a law firm out here. So we've been long distance for like 10 years. And so the quarantine has kept me right here since everybody's meeting via Zoom anyway. So I've just been kind of hanging out in California in my apartment.
Okay. All right. Do you know much about the Canadian map, the landscape where Alberta is, and things like that?
A little, not
Yeah.
really. I love Canada. I've been one time and I loved it so much. I was in Vancouver and I just love the people. Everybody is so nice. And I'm from Texas
Yeah.
and I felt like I could leave my computer on the street and nobody would take it. It was just, everybody's so nice out there.
I'll test that later. I'll leave my computer out overnight and see what happens.
Okay.
So we're a little ways. I guess we're a little ways east of Vancouver and Edmonton.
Okay.
Really
I know
one of the
Edmonton. I know where that is.
Yeah, well, we're kind of a country music hotbed up here, and really one of the furthest north big cities in Canada, I guess.
Awesome.
But here at CFCW, the radio station I work for, we were introduced to Mickey Guyton. It was 2015, kind of when the
Yep.
rest of the country music world was introduced to you with the song "Better Than You Left Me,"
Mm.
which is a fantastic song. Really heart wrenching, like rip your heart out kind of country song.
I'm good for
Um,
those. Anytime you want a heart-wrenching song, just find me.
Yeah, we're finding that out. We're finding that out for sure as we listen to your library. Um, the years following that, we were kind of, you were on our radar and we're kind of waiting. What was it like navigating Nashville for you? After the initial success, Better Than You Left Me.
It was very frustrating, to be perfectly honest, because Better Than You Left Me had some success, but it didn't have as much success as we were hoping for. Around that time, it was really big in country radio that you couldn't play two females back to back, and to have two female ballads out at the same time, it was really difficult. And my song fell off the charts because of that. And that was one of the most devastating moments of my life. And I was kind of crawling through the trenches ever since and trying to figure out how to fit in this format and have that up-tempo song that everybody was wanting from me, this light and fluffy song. And my life really was not light and fluffy for that 5 year time period that people did not hear from me. And it was a major struggle.
Did you find yourself going back and trying to write the light and fluffy songs, but more
Absolutely.
more more meaningful songs maybe came out instead?
You know, what ended up happening for years and years and years, I tried to fit in to what I thought country music wanted from me. And one night I talked to my husband. My husband's a very, very smart man. And we don't really talk about our careers just because I don't, want to cause conflict in our relationship. But this day was different. And I just asked him, I said, why do you think country music isn't working for me? And he said, because you're running away from everything that makes you different. And it like punched me in my gut. It was like, oh my God, I was running away from everything that made me unique and was trying to water that down to fit inside this format. And I realized that I know who I am and I have something to say. And my country music is three chords and the truth. And my truth is I'm a Black woman living in the United States. And I have a very, very unique story from the moment I was a little girl up until now. So I scrapped everything that I'd been working towards that whole 5 years, or maybe the first like 3 years of it. And the last like 2 years, I was really, really, really writing about my truth. And it was the most freeing thing that I could have ever done for myself. It was so freeing. And I quit worrying about what the radio stations or what I thought country music listeners wanted to hear from me. And I started writing my honest to God's truth.
Well, that's you're telling your story through music, and and like your songs. I mean, I sit in this is my office. I sit in here. I listen to dozens of songs every week,
Yeah.
and very very seldom. I mean, every once in a while, a song can bring me to tears, and maybe one or two tears. But
Yeah.
a couple of your songs recently, they've been the ones to do that and get that emotional reaction. So to me, you're doing something right. You're hitting it on the head.
Thank you. Well, that's what I felt. That's why I fell in love with country music in the first place, was because country music told the most beautiful, honest stories. You know, I still can't listen to House That Built Me by Miranda Lambert without sobbing my eyes out. Like I can't, no matter what happens. And those are the country songs that I love, the meaningful ones. And I miss that. So that's just kind of what I started writing about.
I just want to point out that you've got some real connections to Canada. I know you do some writing with Victoria Banks, so a little shout out to her.
Yes. My Canadian family is all over this album. I've written majority of it with Canadian women that are amazing writers. Victoria Banks, Karen Kasowski, Emma Lee. They're amazing, amazing writers that are making a huge splash in Nashville.
Also, just to thank you on behalf of the community of Grand Prairie, because I know you were part of Tennille Town's Big Hearts for Big Kids fundraiser for the Sunrise House in Grand Prairie. And so, yeah, that was just a couple of weeks ago. Was that a pretty fun experience to be working with Tennille Towns on that?
You know, I call Tennille Town Saint Tennille because she is one of the purest, kind, loving, most beautiful people I've ever met in this world, and I think will I've ever meet, because the fact that she is an artist where it's all about ourselves, right? It's such a narcissistic profession that we do, and she makes it completely about everybody else but herself. And it was just such an honor to be a part of something that meant something, that wasn't so about, oh, look at me and how amazing I am. It's about giving back. And right now, we need it more than ever. In this pandemic, we need good, because good outweighs the bad, and the good always wins.
Her song, The Most Beautiful Things, that's another one that maybe
Jersey on the Wall, I can't.
Yeah.
And when I meet my maker, my God, she just really gets you.
I do want to talk about your song, Black Like Me. Just before we wrap here, the first time I heard it, I felt a close personal connection to it. A young woman told me a story a few years ago. She was born in the Caribbean. She moved to Canada as a young girl. She settled in Red Deer, which is not a very diverse place. Mm-hmm. On the playground one day, she was with two other little girls. They were sharing, you know what a jawbreaker is, like a big candy that you can lick for days. And these two other girls were sharing it. And she told me this story about how she got up the nerve to ask for her turn to lick the jawbreaker, which you don't want to be necessarily sharing candy, but in this, for little girls, it was okay. And they said no. And she asked why, and they said it was because of the color of her skin. And so this was a few years ago. She told me that story. Now I hear Black Like Me, and you tell that story in your song. And I'm sure you're getting people all over North America and now up here in Red Deer, Alberta, Canada, people that can connect to those lines in that song.
It's, there's a lot. I have my own personal playground stories as a little girl. I had to go to Christian private schools when I was little because the subdivision that I was in, the public school system, we were made known, or my parents were made known, that they didn't want to have Black kids that went to that school. So I know what it feels like to want to fit in and to want to please and want to be a part of a community and them not want you there. And so I really understand what your friend was feeling, and that's what the song is about. And it's about anybody, not just Black people, brown people, or anybody that has made to not feel like they can fit in. It's really that it's about.
That young woman, actually, she's my partner. We've been together for more than a decade. So she tells me stories like that all the time. And I just want you to know that You give her stories validity, and not that she needs it, but you do. And I'm sure hearing stories like that back also gives you the
Oh
validity.
my
So
God. Tell her I see her. I stand with her. I am with her. So thank you so much. And thank you for loving her.
yeah, we appreciate it. On behalf of CFCW, just thanks for your time, and you're making the world a better place.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And so are you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.